Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padres gang. Yeah, they.
And good day, everybody. Welcome on into the Talking Friars Padres versus Pirates pregame show for May 1st, 2022. That's right. We are in the month of May now. The season started in April. Now we're in May. We're still not a month into the season because, remember, it did start late. It started April 7th instead of when it was supposed to start, which was, I think, like the last day of March, I think, is when it was supposed to start. A lot happened during that time with spring training, obviously, and the whole lockout discussions. And so there was a seat, the first week, 2 weeks of games were canceled, and then they brought a week back because of the whole lockout. But anyway, we are in May. It is May 1st. Pirates Padres should get underway today. First pitch is scheduled for 1:35 p.m. in Pittsburgh, 10:35 a.m. in San Diego. But I don't know if it's going to get in at that time. Kevin Acee just put out on Twitter the lineups, and then he said that they're looking to get the game in the 1 to 3 p.m. time window, but the game's supposed to start at 1:35 Pittsburgh time. So are they going to start the game early to try to get as many innings in? I don't know the answer to that. That would be kind of messed up for those trying to go to the game and people that have their plans scheduled around the game to start it a half hour, 35 minutes early, but maybe that's what they try to do. The tarp is not on the field right now, according to Kevin. But from what I've seen, checking the weather, there's potential for severe thunderstorms this afternoon in Pittsburgh. So even if they try to get it into that 1 to 3 p.m. window in Pittsburgh, a baseball game is not played in 2 hours. So they're not going to be able to finish the game in 2 hours. Are they trying? Maybe they try to. What's that rule? It's like through 7 innings, or it has to get through 6 or 7 innings or something. And then if the rain's so bad, the weather's so bad that they stop it, it has to get through that certain period of time. And then once they get through that period of time, then they can just have the game, just cancel the game and have the game be only 6-7 innings. I think they can do that. So maybe that's what they're planning on doing. But the Padres do go into this game 14-8. The Pirates are 9-12. Obviously, last night was a really bad loss. They choked 2 leads. They had one in the 8th inning when Manny hit that home run. Then they had one in the 10th inning when Grisham hit the RBI single. They couldn't hold it. The bullpen couldn't hold it. Steven Wilson gave up 2 runs on the Michael Chavis home run, the breaking ball up and in that stayed up. And then obviously the Hosmer, the ball that was hit to Hosmer, I initially said my reaction, I said it went through his legs. It did not. I was just reacting to the one play that I saw. I didn't get to see the replay because I like doing those reactions literally right after the game ends, and the game literally ended right there. And so Brian Hayes was safe. That's the replay that I saw. That's the replay that they showed. But they did not show the back. It was actually a backhand that he missed it and it went under his glove. I did not see that. But that's a loss is a loss, and those are games that they should win. So for those people that want to say it's just one game, it's not soul crushing, just go out and win today. Well, what if they don't win today? And even if they do, well, that's one game. What if they end up losing the division by one game, or they lose home field advantage in the wild card series by one game? And this is one of the games that you could look back on and say, hey, we should have won this game. You look back on this game, you can look back at the Arizona game on opening day, right? And we'll talk about that more on the episode after today's game. If the full game gets in, if it doesn't and they have to push it tomorrow like Czar thinks it will, then I'll do an episode then. live here on YouTube and podcast versions as well available and on replay. But getting back to today's game, Padres sit in third place in the National League West. They're a half game back of first. The Pirates are in third place as well in the National League Central. They are 5.5 games back. So both teams are in third place in their divisions, just a much bigger gap in terms of the room that they have to make up in terms of getting up to that first place spot. Jesse Agler, he did tweet earlier today, that he will not be on the radio for the call. He had some family issues to deal with in San Diego, so he's flying back there, and Bob Scanlon will be filling in for him. Scan was already in Pittsburgh because he was the sideline reporter, the dugout reporter for Bally, and so he's going to fill in for the radio with Tony Gwynn Jr. So I don't know if they're going to have a sideline reporter at all for Bally Sports today, but that's not the main issue. That doesn't matter. What matters is whatever Jesse's dealing with his family and stuff in San Diego, that ends up being fine. So we wish Jesse well and wish that everything is going to end up fine with that. Clevenger, I mentioned this yesterday. Mike Clevenger is going to start on Tuesday, Gore on Wednesday to finish up the Padres road trip. So far right now, the Padres are 4-1 on their road trip. They won 4 in a row. That Cincinnati series and then Pittsburgh, the first game. Then obviously losing last night. Michel Baez had a rehab start last night with Lake Elsinore. He pitched 2 innings, didn't give up any runs, no hits, no walks, so that was all good there. And I think Jose Castillo is supposed to pitch today for Lake Elsinore, if I remember correctly. And so this is great news. I mean, sometime in the middle of the season, the Padres bullpen is going to look entirely different. You're probably going to have Pomeranz back, Baez back, Castillo, who else am I forgetting? Pierce Johnson, Morhone maybe. You have Martinez in the bullpen if Clevenger and Snell are there and Gore's in the rotation. You have that. So that's 6 extra guys in the bullpen that aren't there right now. So it could look entirely different, and that could also help the chances of Lamet being traded, right? We talked about that on the pregame show yesterday and how those reports came out that the Padres are in discussions with other teams on Dinelson Lamet. So that's a possibility because of all the arms that are coming in. You have Ray Kerr, Kevin Kopps might be available at some point later in the year. So those are all possibilities as well. So those are just some news and notes that I wanted to get to in terms of the Padres. Today is the last game where rosters can be at 28 players. May 2nd, it has to be 26 players. And so obviously today's May 1st, May 2nd tomorrow. This is it. So 2 guys are going to be sent down. Will it be Avila and Kerr? Those seems like 2 likely options because they're just not being used. Will Lamet be dealt? So that clears up 1 spot. Who knows? But today, will Beatty be sent down? I wrote a piece on Gaslit Ball with 5 players that could be not on the Major League Padres roster come tomorrow. So I encourage you to go look that up. Abrams on there, Beatty. I think Abrams is staying, but just some possibilities that the Padres front office is definitely going to be talking about. Abrams, Beatty. I did not include Lamet because just some on past comments that Bob Melvin has said very recently, thinking, just showing the belief in him. Ray Kerr, Pedro Avila. I said Beatty already. Azokar, if they want to go to a 4-man outfield or a 5-man and they want Beatty on there, they want Beatty, 4-man, they want Beatty, Thompson, Grish, Profar, and then they have Abrams as an emergency outfield or something like that. But today is the last 26-man roster or 28-man roster day, so that's something to look at as well. Again, there's supposed to be some thunderstorms in the Pittsburgh area today, so it's not quite clear if they'll get 9 innings in. Maybe it'll be a 6-7 inning type thing where they play those innings. There's a team with the lead, and they agree to just end the game then. But Kevin Acee recently said, if you're just tuning in, that it should be they're trying to get the game in between the 1 and 3 p.m. window, but the game's not scheduled to start until 1:35 Pittsburgh time, so it's not clear. So really that's less than an hour and a half to get any game in. So what? You'd be in the 4th inning when you stop getting the gate trying to play? Is that what they're doing? But that's pretty much the plan. So it might be a long day or it might be a short day and they just play the game again tomorrow, or excuse me, the rest of the game. They conclude the game tomorrow because the Padres and the Pirates both have an off day tomorrow, and then the Pirates are supposed to play May 2nd, and May 3rd. The Padres play in Cleveland to finish out their road trip with 2 games against Cleveland, with Clev and then Gore on the mound Tuesday, Wednesday. So they have an off day tomorrow, both teams. So that's convenient. So maybe they conclude the game then, and they don't feel like they have the pressure to get the game in at all. As for the pitching matchup today, we got Joe Musgrove on the mound for the Padres against Mitch Keller. Musgrove, there was those talks that came out a few days ago about those contract discussions where Musgrove was offered 8 years, $11 million a year, $88 million in total, one of the offers. He did not accept that, obviously, because he's worth more than that. He's the best starter in the Padres rotation right now in terms of ERA, at least 4 starts in. His ERAs continued to get better for the last 3 or 4 years. He threw the first no-hitter in Padres history. He's from San Diego. Every fan in their right mind knows that the Padres need to have him. So he has all the leverage here. Peter Seidler needs to up that offer. And I think Joe's going to have that offer in the back of his head and use that as motivation, not towards F the Padres, but you got to pay me more than this. I want to be here. You want me here. So why are you only giving me $11 million a year? Now, I know that's how negotiations work, right? You have the team is going to try to go low. The player is going to try to shoot for the moon, and then they go to the middle. That's what they try to do, right? So there's probably a long ways to go, discussions back and forth. Musgrove did say earlier, I think this month, that he is tabling those discussions with the Padres because he doesn't want to worry about it. And if the Padres present something to his agent that's better, then they'll talk about it. But for now, they're tabling those talks. But you would think that he'd use that as some motivation here. Not that he needs that. He's pitching really well so far this year. He's had quality starts so far every single start this season. He has not allowed more than 2 runs in any start. And then on the other side of things for Mitch Keller and the Pirates, Keller's allowed 4 runs in 3 of his 4 starts this season. He has not gotten over 84 pitches, so the Pirates aren't very comfortable, it looks like, in getting him, 7 innings through. Definitely not that. 6 innings through. So this is a time where the Padres just attack, kind of like their game plan against the last 2 guys that they faced in this Pirates series. So that's the pitching matchup, Joe Musgrove and Mitch Keller. Let's get to the bullpen situation today. All right, here's the bullpen situation. So Rogers should be available today. Yesterday, obviously, that cost the Padres having to have Luis Garcia go out there after Steven Wilson gave up 2 runs. So those were the 2 guys that pitched yesterday. I wouldn't expect them to go today. Again, we might not even see any relievers go today if they decide to just postpone the game till tomorrow, at least the second half of the game, right? So we might not even see any relievers and just see Musgrove go out there and go 4 or 5 innings. And then if it starts pouring, then that'll be it for today. Who knows? But Rogers should be available today. He was not available yesterday because he'd gone 3 days in a row. And the reason why he was not available yesterday was Dinelson Lamet, if you think about it, because that series finale against the Reds, Lamet struggled, and that forced Taylor Rogers to come into the game to end that game on the 29th. And so those 3 days in a row wasn't available yesterday. If he didn't have to go into that game after Lamet on, when was that, Thursday, then he would have been available yesterday. So that kind of costed the Padres. But everyone else should be available all the way, as you see, through the rest of the bullpen. Suarez, Chris Matt, Stammen, Hill, definitely Avila and Kerr today, because you would think that those 2 guys are likely to be sent down. I know one of them will be. You would think Avila would be sent down as one of those 2 guys that has to be sent down because rosters are going to be trimmed starting at the end of today, trimmed from 28 guys to 26. So that's what the bullpen situation looks like. Garcia might be available. I would doubt it, though. You got 16 pitches yesterday. Wilson, 22. Both of those were kind of high leverage situations as well. So I wouldn't expect them to be available. As for the lineups, let's see here. Here are the lineups for today. For the Padres, there's a righty on the mound, as you can see, Mitch Keller, an ERA over 6. So you got Grisham, the lefty, leading off. Crony, Manny, Profar, Haas, Kim, Beatty, Nola, and Abrams. So what I take away from this is they don't have Campy DHing. They're giving Haas a day off his feet, try to give him back-to-back days off, essentially. They might end up playing tomorrow because of the weather, if they're going to want to finish that game tomorrow. But no Campy DHing. They're going to have Haas DH. And then Profar hitting 4th. His average has dipped down to 186. But he did have those home runs in that Cincinnati series. Manny with the home run yesterday. He's at 386. So Hosmer won the batting average battle between them two for the month of April. I think Manny has a very strong case for being the player of the month, the National League Player of the Month. He's my MVP pick right now. For as great as Hosmer did offensively, ending April the way he did yesterday with that error really stinks. He has less home runs than Manny, less RBIs. I know it's just one each, but Manny has 4 stolen bases. He's been good defensively. I think he really deserves the National League Player of the Month. But that's just me, a biased Padre fan, I guess, if that's what you want to call me. But Manny looking to continue with that hot streak. Jake Cronenworth continue to be hot, man. He's playing much better since pretty much the start of the road trip. Grisham's had some better at-bats. CJ Abrams playing second, batting 9th. So they're going back-to-back lefties there. I get what they're doing. They don't want Kim hitting 9th. They want to put him higher up because he's been hitting better. But, I mean, I don't really like having 3 lefties in a row there, 9-1-2. That's probably what I would change. But that's pretty much about it. It's kind of weird what they're doing when they have – it's either like Grisham or Nola in the leadoff spot, and then the other goes down to the 8 hole. It's like it's one thing if you're going to have them 1 or 9, but you're having 1 or 8. So that's kind of weird. But those are just some of the takeaways I have from the Padres lineup. For the Pirates, it's Daniel Vogelbach. Big guy hitting leadoff for them. Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes scored the game-winning run, the walk-off run yesterday. He's hitting 3rd. Yoshi Sestugo is hitting 4th. Ben Gamel, Josh Van Meter, Jack Sawinski, the former Padre prospect, hitting 7th. Cole Tucker, first time we're going to see him in this series, batting 8th. And then Roberto Perez, the former Indians catcher, batting 9th. So those are the lineups for today. Zara, I did just see that comment there. You said it would be better to reschedule if they already know they'll get about 4 innings plus. We would waste a Musgrove start. Yeah, but it's not up to the Padres. It's up to the Pirates, I think. Well, I think it's up to the umpires before the game, and then once the game starts, it's up to the – no, my bad. I think it's flip-flop. Before the game, it's up to the grounds crew. Once the game starts, it's up to the umpires. So once the umpires say, okay, bring the tarp on the field, that's it. Now, the grounds crew talks with the umpires because they know better than the umpires what the weather's like. So they'll recommend stuff. But the umpires, if there's something, like there was that White Sox-Angels game, I think it was yesterday. Vince Velasquez for the White Sox was pitching. Mike Trout was hitting for the Angels. It was a 2-2 count right in the middle of the at-bat, and the umpire said, we're done. And Trout and Velasquez wanted to finish the at-bat. They're like, what are we doing here? It's 2-2. Let us finish this dang at-bat. We both want to be out here. It's not like the pitcher can't grip the ball or anything. Let us finish here. But that's the way that's just the way it is. The umpires rule it once the game starts. Somewhat to watch for me today. Will the full game be played? I've been talking about that already a lot today. Will Musgrove, his quality start streak, will that continue? I think the big question is if we'll get to 6 innings. before stoppage happens. And then, like I mentioned, it's the last game before that 2-man roster crunch where it goes from 28 guys to 26. You would think Avila's going down, and then who's that next guy? Who's that final guy that'll go down? Remember, they do have to replace Clevenger, or they're going to have Clevenger replace someone on the roster. So if you think about it, it's actually going to have to be 3 guys go down, 2 guys to get to 26. Then you have Clevenger come on the roster. Then you have to replace someone else with him. For my Padre pick for today, yesterday I had Cronenworth. He went 1 for 4, so I am, I think, 14-7 so far this season in my pregame show Padre pick. Hopefully that's an updated number. Today I'm going to go Manny. That's an easy pick, but I'm just going to go with him just because he's at the top of the order. He's their best hitter right now. It's pretty much a simple pick. He is hitting .333 and 3 at-bats off Keller, so there's no sample size really there, but I'm just going to go with that as my Padre pick. Some MLB news and notes. Clayton Kershaw broke the Dodgers record for the franchise strikeout record, so he leads. It was Don Sutton who he passed last night against the Tigers. He struck out Spencer Torkelson in the 4th inning in a 1-1 game to set the Dodgers franchise strikeout mark. So good for him. His family was in attendance, so that was a kind of a cool moment. I know it's a Dodger, but that's still cool to see. The Yankees have won 8 in a row. Garrett Cole pitched well yesterday against the Royals in Kansas City. The Reds DFA'd Aristides Aquino. They just played the Padres just played Aquino, and Aquino strikes out like all the time. I mean, my goodness. Sunday Night Baseball today. Let's see. We got Phillies and the Mets. There's a K-Rod cast on ESPN2, and then the regular broadcast on ESPN. San Francisco finishes up their series at home against the Nationals. Dodgers against the Tigers. Diamondbacks in St. Louis to play the Cardinals. So those are your MLB news and notes. Some National League West action around the league. Right now, I'm just checking Twitter here. AJ Cassavell says that the tarp is still off. Kevin Acey just put a tweet out saying beautiful grounds crew equals heroes. It looks like, oh no, okay, so the picture that I'm looking at, it looks pretty good. You can see gray clouds, so there is going to be rain. It looks like it's windy, but the grounds crew's on the field right now, just working on it. Looks like as this picture was taken, some of the grounds crew was taking the tarp off the mound. So it looks like they're going to get ready to play starting at 1:35 Pittsburgh time. So that is some good news. That is good news. So 10:35 a.m. Pacific time should be first pitch. Bally Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan, Musgrove against Keller. And we'll finish it up with Czar here. Thank you for putting some comments in here. Thank you, everyone, as well. I hope you subscribe to this YouTube channel for daily Padres content, videos out every single day, whether that's a pregame show or a pregame show and episodes after every series, or just videos about some certain stories that are going around, interviews, all that. I hope you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos, don't miss any content. Let's see here. Czar, let's see. He said, I like that Melvin is sticking to Grisham batting leadoff, gives him a shot to either win the spot or move on. Well, I don't think – I agree with give him a shot to win the spot, but to move on, I don't think that's an option. They did just get Shogo Akiyama on a minor league deal, but he did not hit any home runs with the Reds. He doesn't provide any power. He struggled with the Reds at the major league level. Who are they going to put in center field? They're going to have Jose Azocar in center and Grisham in the minor leagues. I personally don't really see that happening because Azocar and Grisham, to me, I know Grisham's a lefty and Azocar's a righty, but like both of those guys are like the same player. They're both good defensively, but they could be better offensively. So moving on from him, I don't think that's going to happen, at least soon. But giving him a shot to earn the leadoff spot, yeah, I agree. I still think that it's too early to just assess if he's going to be the leadoff hitter the whole year. We're still not technically a full month into the season, even though it's in May right now. It's May 1st. So Grisham could. He could be fighting for a leadoff spot, but I don't think he's going anywhere to answer that question. All right, this has been the pregame show, May 1st, 2022, Padres Pirates. I don't know what a pirate is. Getting underway at 10:35. Should be San Diego time. Who knows how much of the game we're going to get in. Forecast doesn't look amazing in Pittsburgh, but we'll see. So I'll catch you at the end of the game if that's what they end up doing. They get through it. This has been Ben Fadden for the pregame show. Enjoy the game today. I'll see you later.